Good day, everyone. In today's video, we're going to be covering SAICA post exam paper. And the paper that I have selected to start with will be APC 2020. So what we're going to be doing in this video, our main focus will be only on the background information, the welcome letter that was provided by the CEO to the financial analyst. Just to look at what we see on screen, this is the assessment of professional competency that was written in December 2020. It is APC, or the very last board exam, or the last exam that you need to write before you could qualify and be accepted to be a member of SAICA. This is a pre-release information. So it is information that you will receive during your first 5 days, or for the 5 days before the day of the exam. So that this is the information that will give you a background about the company that you're going to be examined on, as well as the matters that are happening in that company. So the name of the company that SAICA selected, or that they used for the 2020 paper, it was Bodala Kawuda Pty Ltd, and we used to call it BK. As I've already said, we're only going to be focusing on document 1 for this video. The document 2, 3, 4, and 5 will be covered in their own separate video. So please follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Economics 199, and also follow me on TikTok so that you'll be able to see the remainder of the other videos. So why I want us to start with the background information, I want you to understand when you get the pre-release, what are the things that you should be focusing on when looking at the paper, and why you should focus on those certain things. But before we even read the document 1, there's something, or a special notes, that I want to let the candidates know about before the day of the pre-release come. It's the matter of competitor. We mostly get worried about knowing who is the competitor. We try to find the listed company that is a competitor of the company or the industry that is presented to us by SAICA during the pre-release information. I want to let you know that even if you don't know who's the competitor and you don't find the integrated report of the competitor, you still are standing a better chance of passing the exam. And I'm going to tell you why I'm saying you still stand a better chance of passing the exam without knowing the competitor. Because the information that you are given in the background information, it gives you most of the information that you need in order to respond to the examiner successfully and pass that paper. Yes, there are instances where you want to see the note of the competitor. Maybe you want to see how they lay out IFRS 16 a note, or how they lay out the accounting policy. But it's really not something that can hinder you to pass APC if you are at the position where you cannot get the competitor. So not being able to get a competitor should be the least of your worries when it comes to the day that you receive your pre-release information. And then the other thing that you need to understand is that the background information, it generally gives you most of the things that you need to pass the exam. So it is very important that you understand everything that is written in the background information, because it becomes the basis of answering every question that you will be asked in the examination. Then the number of things that are generally not triggers, but they are important for you to understand before you go to the exam, because they will help you to answer either questions that are triggered or respond to the exam on qualitative questions or even governance question. So what are those things? If you are given the financial statements on the background information, you need to calculate the trend. That means the movement from previous year to the next year, and calculates the ratios that are important for the industry that you have been provided by SAICA. So that is not normally a trigger, but it's something that by the time you go to the exam, you need to have a gist of what is happening in the company. Are they improving in terms of the ratios, or they are not improving? That means that the company operation is declining. So you need to have a feel of how the company is doing, looking at the trend analysis. So that is generally not a trigger, but it's something that you have to do, or you have to know before you even get to the trigger documents. Number two, it will be your king. You analyze whether the company is in compliance with the king. That is provided if they give you information or more details about the board. In this case, we were given information about the board. In that case, then you have to sit back and say, what I need to understand about the requirements of the king for with regard to the composition of the board. Then the other thing, which is also generally important for you in order to be able to answer your ethics question as well as your other qualitative question or strategy question, it is your SWOT analysis. So you need to do the SWOT analysis of the company if you have not been provided, or you need to analyze the company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So when you get your background information, you can work on those three things. Simple work on them, because it is important for you to understand overall operation of the company. That will give you an understanding in terms of how is this company operating. It's going to give you the board composition, whether it's right. If you're given the information about the board, it's going to give you the information in terms of the company is at a growing stage or it's on a declining stage. So you need those things. It is very important that you work on those things if you can work on them based on the information that you are provided. Now let's look what we have on the background information. So we have a document one, so which is a document that will be our focus for today. So as I go along, I'm not going to read everything, because I assume that you would have read this pre-release by yourself before you come and watch the video. But I will just go through the matters that I believe will be important for you to understand and for us to go over them as I move along this document one. So this email on document one is coming from the CFO or Chief Financial Officer and is coming to you as a financial analyst. So why am I saying you are a financial analyst? Is because that is the position that SAICA has designated or had designated to people that were writing this exam. Meaning to say, when you are wrapping up your email, then you're saying financial analyst because you have been given this position as a financial analyst. So it seems that you are, or the reporting line, your next line of manager is the CFO. So you're reporting directly to the CFO. And then it obviously was sent on 1 December 2020. That was the date of the pre-release. So this is a welcome email. So you're receiving a welcome email from the CFO, it giving you the background information about the company. So the reason that he's sending you this email is because he wants to give you a background information about the company, or rather the company operation. Then this is the saying that you are welcome at the company and they believe that you're going to contribute valuable information to the company. And then the name of the company, as we have already discussed, it's Bodala Kawuda, and then throughout the paper it will be called BK. They have been in business for 20 years, and when they started 20 years ago, they only had 2 employees. What are they doing? So now you are introduced to the industry in terms of what are they doing. They export avocados. Now you know that, okay, that means they're in the agricultural industry. So what kind of panic you would have if you're in the exam and you are presented at this industry? You'd ask yourself, how am I going to get the competitor? As I've said, you do not have to panic about finding the competitor, because actually it's not what will determine whether you pass or you fail the exam. It is on the basis of the fact that throughout your introduction, they will tell you more about the company or more about the operation of the company, which is actually what you need. Then as you move down, the CFO is letting you know that this business was started by him and his friend is Katlego, and Katlego studied agriculture while he followed the CS stream. So now what you see here is that the friend was starting something related to the agriculture while the CFO or your line manager started the CS cream. So now you become happy. So now you're going to have a mentor, you're going to have someone that will guide you throughout your journey at this company. And then what are we getting to here is that in the past, or 20 years ago, avocado wasn't something so lucrative like it is now, because in the past the healthy wasn't so much concern to people like it is now globally. So health, because of healthy concerns people have now, avocado business started to grow. So they are also telling you that the reason that avocado is growing is because of the number of nutrition and vitamins that it contains, which is important in order to build a healthy lifestyle to the individuals. Now you need to know why you're employed. Why did they decide that they want to employ you? They have employed you because they want you to assist in the finance departments with accounting. They want you to assist with taxation, the auditing queries. If auditors have any questions regarding the matters of the company, you needed to jump in there and assist. And then also they're saying not only you will be assisting on accounting, taxation, and auditing queries, however, they will also pull you through when it comes to strategy, finance, and the governance team, meaning to say you need to be an all-rounder. You need to know accounting, tax management, accounting, as well as auditing. So they are expecting you to be an all-rounder. You have to develop yourself, or you have to have previously developed yourself to a position that you can manage to deal with all the disciplines that are expected of a CA. So that basically gives you an introduction. This is an introduction email or a welcome email that is coming from the boss. And what I've highlighted is what I believe are kind of things that you should highlight when you're looking at your pre-release information, because those are the part of things that are important for you to understand. Now let's just look at the document that is attached. So obviously the document that is attached, it is a background information. And that is what the industry is operating in. So it gives you information about the operation of the company. Then what are we told here? This is an avocado farming operation. Now we know already that this is avocado farming business. They currently have 420 hectares. So that means the operation it's for 420 hectares, or they have 420 hectares where they are harvesting these avocados. And they are based in Limpopo, Zanin, that is in Limpopo. The other thing that is important is that they produce two variety of avocados. So then they've also mentioned to us that they focus more on Hass, and the reason that they focus on Hass is because that is what is liked by the European customer. Moreover, as they've said that they have two avo, they also have fute, which is avocado, which is harvested annually between March and July, and has they harvest between May and October. So they have two types of avocado that they produce. It's fute as well as has, and then both of them are produced or harvested in different season or in different period. And as we move down, we said there's a sizable percentage of harvested avocado in Europe. Avocados are generally produced in Europe between December and May annually. So now if you see that our customer, our major customer, is harvesting between December and May, it means that we can be able to supply them, because when you're looking at the times that we are harvesting it, we have October, March, and July, whereby they are not harvesting. Therefore, we are able to supply to them during those periods. However, in May, we are both harvesting. But what is nice about May is that in May we are harvesting the avocado that they are not interested in Europe. As we have been told that Europe, they are more interested in the Hass avocado. So that's what is important. As you read, you analyze the information with an understanding what will be the issues of harvesting during the same period. If that means that Hass is harvested during December and May, that means we are not going to be able to be in the position to supply Europe, because they will have the avocado that they do not have to transport to Europe. And if you move down, they're saying BK is expanding, right? The way they expand is by adding trees, which are equal to 20 hectares per annum in recent years. That means in recent years, they've started that the expansion plan is that they add orchards, trees, or they add trees on 20 hectares each and every year. So what does that mean to you as you read here? It means that since they're sitting on 420 hectares, that means that in the year before they were in 400 hectares, and the year before that they were in 380 hectares. So you see how it is important for you as you read along, you digest information that you have been provided in a way that you can use that information. And then when you move down, they say the young trees are then planted in the orchards and are followed and allowed to grow to maturity. Avocado trees begin to bear fruit between 3 to 4 years. So, what is it saying here is that they only bear fruit between 3 to 4 years, and then they will continue to produce for 40 years. So, now when they're saying now they will continue to grow for 40 years, what does that mean to you? It means the useful life of trees is then 40 years. Now, it's giving you an idea in terms of how do you decide when it comes to the allowance of the trees, because now the trees is their resources that produce fruit that they sell, which is trees. And then obviously you know that how long it takes for them after being young tree to starting to produce. And then as we go down, we are told that after pollination, the fruits they hang on the trees between 8 to 12 months prior to be harvesting. So there's a very long period. So it takes time before they can even then harvest the avocado. Then they say BK is ripening rooms. So now you can think what is the extra asset that they will have? Those rooms. That means that they have rooms to ripen the avocado. The reason for having those rooms is to ripe and get the avocado ready. You know, when you go to some shop like Woolworths or Checkers, you'll find the avocados that they have already been ripened, like that they're ripe and ready for you to consume. So that means as part of their plan is to have some avocado that they will sell when they're already ready to be consumed by the customer. And as we're moving down to the next paragraph, it talks about the picking process. They're saying the picking process, obviously, it's the picking of the avocados from the tree. It is labor intensive. So it makes sense that it is labor intensive on the basis of the fact that that is still the best way to get the avocado down from the trees is by having labor, and you need number of labor since this is your line of business. And then I said they have full time and temporal employees. It also does make sense why they will have full time and temporal employees. The full time employees will be people like you who will be busy with the administration work and other extra activities that are done on a full time basis in the company. And your temporal workers will be mainly the pickers. Why? Because we know that the harvesting is seasonal, that is between March and July, as well as May and October. So they really do not need pickers throughout the year. And we move down, they said BK has its own packing shed where fruit is inspected for defect and then separated according to size and graded. So now once they have harvested the avocado, we are further told that it doesn't end there. They still need to then continue with taking out all the ones that they cannot sell out. And then after that, they still need to grade from using the different grading process that the company follows. So that is generally the process that they are taking us through, or they're taking you through to understand about the company so that you can strategize in a system going forward as the new employee. Then who did they sell this to? They sell this on export markets as well as local market. So now you already know that because they told us that Europe is their major customer. You've already been told that Europe is the major customer in terms of export sales. And then now we are introduced to the new name. So the new name that we are introduced to is called Pack Out. So what does Pack Out means? It's generally defeat that happens on the harvested fruit, and it comes because of numbers of reasons. The reason that you find out having the damaged avocado is because there was a lack of water, sunburn, diseases like fungi and various pests, rats, rats, and fruit flies. So the reason now we can't sell out this avocado that has peg arts is because no one will be interested in eating a damaged avocado. Avocado also, if it has been sitting on a very close place, or you were transporting it, you didn't take care of it while it was transported, it will also have the peg arts. So that's a new name or industry name that is important for you to understand. Now that means that everything that is harvested, some might not be sold because of the peg art. And then as we move down, they say harvested avocados are either exported or sold domestically. What they want as the business is that they sell this at a best price, and this best price is mainly on the European market. So what does it mean to you? It means that they will take extra care to ensure that they export as many avocados as they can, as opposed to selling it in the South African market, because of the fact that they are making more money by exporting than selling it in South Africa. So on point number one, that was the important thing that I wanted us to look at and digest and understand what it means or entail for the business. Now we're going to move to number two, which talks about avocado export market. So now you're going to be introduced in terms of exporting this avocado. We know our main company or our main focus, it is European companies. Now they're going to tell us some more information about that operation regarding the export market. Then they're saying that avocados are packed in 4 kg cartons. So now we know that 4 kg is the size of the cartons for the avocados that we are selling. And as we move down, the telling of the temperature that these avocados or these cartons have to be kept at certain percentage. So the percentage required is 5.5 degrees Celsius. And what else that we know or we're told or you are informed about is that it's transported to Cape Town. So that means it's going to be moving from Limpopo, because we are told that this business is based in Limpopo. So now this avocado will be transported from Limpopo to Cape Town, and then when it gets to Cape Town, it will be shipped to Europe. Who are we using for this transportation? There is a reputable logistic company that is being used by BK to transport this avocado. So as soon as you see this information that speaks of using the road transportation, then you sit down and you say, okay, cool. Now the number of factors that you can think of. What about if there is strike in that route that they are using? What about they increase the price they're charging us? Can't we insource it? So a number of things that you think of as you see that we are outsourcing the business to logistic company. But there are obviously some benefits that comes with outsourcing, because it helps the company to then focus on their day-to-day business as opposed to not focusing on the day-to-day business and focusing on the matters of delivery. And as we move down, we are told about more information about how it gets to Europe and how long it does. So they say refrigerated, it has to be refrigerated at an appropriate temperature throughout the journey in the vessels. So what does it mean? It means that if it happens that the temperature is below 5.5 degrees Celsius, that means that the avocado could be spoiled on the journey. So it is very critical for them to ensure that temperature is kept throughout the journey. And then how long does it take for it to reach Europe? They said it normally takes 14 to 16 days to reach Europe. So that's the kind of information that you need to keep in mind as you go along. You keep on digesting, sit down and relax and say, okay, what does that mean to me? It takes 14 to 16 days. So anything could happen in that 14 to 16 days. What could potentially happen? The accident of the vessels or shipping vessels could happen. The other things that the temperature could be below or above the required temperature that has to be kept throughout the journey. That means that when it reaches Europe, our customer might not be happy, and that might taint our reputation. So that's the kind of information you keep on asking yourself and responding to as you read it through this paper. And why you're doing that? You're doing that for the purpose of ensuring that each and everything that you're reading or each and everything that you're going through, you understand, and you understand properly for the purpose of answering any qualitative related question. So the background information that you have here, it is very important for you, the purpose of addressing the qualitative question. Then we move to the next paragraph. If you're looking at the next paragraph, I've pretty much highlighted everything that is there because I believed, I felt like it was important for you as a candidate to understand as you read this paper. They said BK sells its export produce to importers, distributors in Europe, who then on-sell to the retailers. The shipping terms are generally cost, insurance, and freight, in terms of which the risk and the title of the goods pass at the point of loading, but the seller has a responsibility to arrange for and pay the cost and freight necessary to bring the goods to the port of destination. The seller is also responsible for taking and paying insurance for the buyer's behalf to cover the risk or losses or the damage during the carriage. I know as soon as you see CIF, you start and say, I need to research about CIF. This is not a trigger. This is just a the contracts that the seller or BK has with the importers in Europe. And they've also explained what it means to you. For that reason, you do not need to go and research. You don't have to spend more time trying to understand what is CIF. It's already explained that the risk and reward post when it is loaded. However, you as a seller, in this case, BK needed to arrange for the transportation cost as well as the carriage. So if you continue to the next paragraph, it talks about the major importers of the South African avocado in Europe are the Netherlands, and then it contributes plus or minus 70% of the export sales or the import sales on their side, and the United Kingdom, UK, is plus or minus 20%. So that means Netherlands is our biggest contributor in terms of the revenue that we generate or BK generate from the sale outside South Africa. There have been threats in recent times by UK restaurants on the ban of the US of avocados in meals served due to the ethical and environmental concerns regarding avocado production. Avocado is it's water intensive crop, and activists are concerned that avocado production may be contributing to climate change. So now we are actually told to information that we might have issue in making sales to UK. So that means we might lose that plus or minus 20% that BK is generating from UK on the basis of the fact that they want to stop using buying the avocado. So why this is important for you? Because this might be important for you when you're answering any kind of qualitative or strategic question throughout the paper. It might even be important to talk about on some ethical concerns question, depending on what you further provided throughout the scenario. And then when you move to the next part, it talks about the competitors of different countries that are competitors to us in terms of production of avocado. Peru is the largest exporter to Europe, followed by South Africa. Mexico is the largest avocado producer globally. It's contributing 2.2 million tons in 2028. So that means contributed, followed by Dominican Republic, which was 640 million tons. And then Peru, it's 500,000 tons. And then total globally, production 2018 was estimated to be 5.9 million tons. Mexican and Dominican Republic focused on supplying USA markets. So now if you're looking at Mexican and Dominican, they're focusing on US, not Europe. That means they're least of our worries or not the biggest competitor. But when you're looking at Peru, Peru is the largest exporter to Europe. That means that is our direct competitor. And then the South African avocado production and export statistics over the past 10 years are predicted below. So this is what we see below. It shows the statistics in terms of the production as well as the export. So the export is the one in yellow, and then total production is the one in green. So what do we see when you look at this is that we're not exporting everything. We are exporting less than what we are producing, which is good because that means we are still supplying SA market. And then as you look here, there is obviously a movement that we see, but what concerns us, it's the sharp movement from 2017 to 18, and then the drop from 2018 to 2019. So that means they're going to tell us more information about what was happening between 2017 and 2019, because it is our concern for us to see this major increase, then a slight drop on the following years. So it is something that we want to understand what happened. If you go and look down, they're saying South Africa had a bumper crop in 2018, but this was followed by a poor season in 2019 due to the unseasonal heat wave in the late 2018. So we know that avocado, obviously, they depend on the season, they depend on the weather. So the weather is very important for the person that is in the agricultural industry. So for that reason, because the weather wasn't so good or wasn't in line with what they need in order to produce avocado, it then became a problem. So I'm going to stop here. And then when it comes to number 3, number 4, and number 5, that will be done on a separate video. So our first part will end on number 2, right? So we're going to end here. Then I'm going to stop the video. Then I will record on the new video the next part. Thank you so much for listening up until this far, which is obviously the end of this video. Can you please follow me on my YouTube channel? It's Economics 199, as well as subscribe. Please share my page to anyone that you believe might be interested in this video, especially the future CAs or APC candidates. It could even be your ITC candidates that will be looking forward to understand what is happening in APC. Thank you so much and all the best.